Like everything. So they have one of the best players in the country on the left, one of the best middles. I think they're starting to figure it out with their new setter, and I know they're definitely going to be motivated to beat us. So I think there's more than just one thing. I think the whole matchup is challenging.
Is this team hungry for a challenge like this? Is this what they need at this moment?
Feels like they're hungry and just excited to play in a crazy environment and, take on another great player. I think it's always fun to go into a match, hoping to perform at a high level and be able to slow somebody down. But, I also think this team hasn't had a challenge like that in a while. So, hopefully it doesn't come out that we've been complacent or that, we need this. It'd be great if we played awesome and it wasn't a challenge, but I think most of us know that's unlikely.
Penn State and Wisconsin have both had to go to number 2 setters. I guess not specifically, but like generally, what does an All-American setter do to take an offense from good to great that maybe another setter can't?
I think the deceptiveness and the confidence of how they run the offense is huge, and just the experience. So, both Charlie and Izzy were both starters from start to finish last season. So that's a lot of games under their belt. And they both had the off seasons with their teams where a transfer and a freshman have a lot less experience, even running the B side in practice or the second string. And then I just think usually All-American setter is very good at all the other parts of the game, blocking, defense, serving. So you're not only losing a lot from the setting position, but just everything else that usually shows up in big moments and big plays, whether it be a great dig or an ace serve that those type of players can deliver.
You talk about depth on this team. Now that you're 20 games into the season, how do you feel like the wear and tear on potentially the starters and backups is going?
I think it's going really well. I feel like we're pretty fresh and, we have a great strength program that our players take very seriously. So it feels like we're in a really good spot physically for it being the end of October.
I asked Rebecca just kind of how do you get into practice scenarios with so many consecutive sets won? Are you guys kind of preparing for if that time comes that you guys drop a set, how to reset in terms of the match energy and what it would look like coming out for a first set?
I wouldn't say there's anything like super unique or new that we're doing. Just, again, making sure our practices are structured to set up like some really good matchups. And when we mix up teams, that allows us to do that. But, again, putting our players in challenging situations in practice against other players has been pretty important. I thought yesterday was one of our most competitive practices in a while. So that was a great sign. At the end of October when you can walk away practice and say that. So just proud of them for that.
What do you mean? What's your relationship with Kelly? I mean, he's another person who's been around for a while. What do you admire about what he's done at Wisconsin?
Well, I think Kelly took over the Wisconsin program when it wasn't doing great, and he immediately took him to a Final Four. And you can say, well, Pete Waite recruited those Carlini and some of those players, but recruiting them and coaching them at that level is a way different deal. So, he took some really good players, but reached the pinnacle of our sport. So just really impressive he was able to do that so quickly, and then more impressive that he was able to hang on to that. Wisconsin hasn't dipped. They've consistently been a top 5 team since he's been there.
As you re-looked at the film from this past week, anything that you would change, anything you didn't like that you saw?
Not really.
What did you tell the players about Wisconsin when you started prep yesterday or today?
Well, yesterday we prepped Oregon, so we haven't worked on Wisconsin yet. But I think just they see everything. Oh, Charlie Forbringer's out. Grace Egan's day-to-day. But at the end of the day, they still have one of the best players in the country. So, no, they might not be number 2 or number 1, number 2, number 3 team in the Big Ten every night, but they can certainly do it once, play great.
helpful is it to have like Jalen and these assistant coaches that have played Wisconsin now for consistency of years? I know obviously you've had your share of time as assistant coach, but playing as a head coach, taking on Wisconsin.
I think it's very helpful, just the experience of how they play. They know those players really well, played against them before, so it's just familiarity. And when we go into prep, they've prepped them before, so I definitely think it's helpful.
How do you expect the atmosphere to be?
I'm sure it'll be wild. So I know the field, it's sold out. And I was saying on the radio show, you know, our other road games have been sold out, but there's been a lot of Nebraska fans. I don't feel like Badger fans probably let too many Nebraska fans get tickets. So I think it'll be mostly Wisconsin fans in there and a really true road game.
When you were looking at Oregon, what stood out about them?
Just heavy arms. So I think they're one of the hardest hitting teams in the Big Ten. And they're playing really well right now. So they had a lot of changes, obviously. Only one returning player, new coach. So it's going to take a minute to gel, and it feels like they're hitting their stride. So that game, you know, at the beginning of the year, you didn't think it would be quite as challenging. And now you're looking at it, it's like that's going to be a huge challenge coming off a night game on the road and turning around and playing an Oregon team who's playing very well and looking confident.
Final questions?
What are you most impressed by with Mimi, what you've seen from her?
Just her consistency. So the numbers she's putting up, no matter how many attempts she gets, and still hitting at a super high efficiency. And then she's so good out of the back row as well. And I think players like that are very challenging because when they go back to serve, you can't think like, oh, thank gosh, she's out of the front row. We can score some points now. It's like, no, because they're just as lethal out of the back row as they are the front row. So you really don't get any break from a player like that.
I saw you on the sidelines of the football game. What was it like to be there? And can you talk about just the experience of what Troy does for the different programs and having you all come together as coaches?
Yeah, you know, I love going to football games and all sporting events. So being able to be on the sidelines, it was great. You know, my husband's an alum, so he was down there as well, which was fun. And I think Troy just really cares about the whole experience, not just, you know, one or two pieces about it for his athletes and the coaches. So making sure that we're all connected and supporting each other. And he makes it convenient and fun to do that, which is huge.
You even have a costume practice this week?
I think so, probably tomorrow.
Is that something that they approached you about? Or?
It's just like they kind of told me we're doing that, so.
You didn't have a choice.
Didn't have a choice, but I think it's pretty common. Most teams have a Halloween practice, so they have to get their TikToks and their posts in too.
You gonna wear a costume?
Yes, I am. So you'll probably see a picture of it. I don't think it's too great, but we'll see.
All right, thank you.
Thanks.